Welcome to the Dreamlands, and we're back with another Deserts of Kharak Skirmish guide. In this episode, we are going to be taking a look at the Khaaneph faction. Hell yeah, one of my favorite factions for sure, and one of the funnest factions to play in the game, in my opinion. Now, right before we jump in, a couple things I wanted to mention. I do want to make this video for a couple of reasons, and the first of which is basically just for completeness. I have a skirmish guide for the Coalition and the Galcian, and I had considered just leaving it at that because from those two videos you can get a pretty good sense of how the AI plays and how you can play in a couple of different ways to fight against them. However, I wanted to showcase an example of that with each faction and just have kind of like a complete video guide series for each faction for skirmish. And another reason is that I wanted to make a couple more videos above and beyond my multiplayer videos that highlight some of the different ways that each of the factions can play. And I think this would be a good way to do that. And in addition to that, a third reason is that if you're one of those players that likes to play skirmish and you like to play it a lot, the AI in this game isn't particularly good. I mean, they can pose a pretty significant challenge if you're not used to the sheer amount of aggression that the AI is going to throw at you. However, once you figure it out and you get accustomed to how they play and you kind of figure out how to counter it, it can get a little bit repetitive. But there are a number of things you can do as a player if you really like skirmish to make it more interesting. And that's above and beyond the obvious things like playing as different factions, different maps, different game modes, all that kind of stuff. You can actually play in a lot of different ways versus the AI and make it interesting in that way. So I kind of wanted to showcase not only the differences between the factions and how they play, but also the different things you can do as a player in the game. Because one of the beautiful things about Deserts of Kharak is the game is designed in such a way that there are so many different viable unit compositions and viable strategies that you can employ that really, like, you're only limited by, I mean, a very, very small number of things like what's viable at very specific times. But outside of that, you can play pretty much however you wish, which is really, really cool. So, all right, enough banter. With that said, let's jump in here. I am going to create a private game. And of course, like all of my other skirmish guide videos, we're going to be recording this live while I play. I think it's a little bit more clear as an educational tool. And in this video, we're really going to play to the Khaaneph faction. So it's going to be a pretty good showcase for the unique ways that the Khaaneph can play and what tools they have at their disposal that are totally unique to this faction. So I'm pretty excited about this. I love this faction a lot. And yeah, this video just gives me another excuse to play a game as the Khaaneph. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to play on Kalash Valley. Because we only have a choice of 2 6-player maps, which is unfortunate, but that's fine. We're just going to play on Kalash Valley because the last time we played on this map was as the Coalition. So this game is going to be quite a bit different. And of course, we're going to set our opponents to Team 2. It's going to be myself versus 3 hard AIs as usual. And that's in case any player... in case there's any new players that want to learn the game and they want to see how they can play versus the AI, I will show some very good strategies and build orders that you can employ. We're just going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to go like antagonist faction versus protagonist factions, I guess, just to make it kind of cool. So we'll be facing 2 Coalition and a Soban, all on hard, all allied against us. So again, if you're having trouble with the AI, watch this video. And it'll give you a good starting point on how you can learn to overcome what the AI throws at you, because this is basically the hardest situation possible. 3 hard versus just me. We're going to leave artifacts on, and we're going to go ahead and, yeah, play it this way. So let's do this thing. Another reason I chose this map is because I showed a coalition faction on this map, so I kind of want to show a so-called Galcian faction on this map. And that's going to kind of showcase quite a few differences between how you can play the factions to the maps, right? You got to play to the faction and you got to play to the map. Definitely. So there will be some similarities between how I roll with Khaaneph and how I rolled with Galcian, but not many, to be honest, outside of the like very, very basic level of the build order. I'm going to be super greedy. Alright, so what we're going to do is all 4 salvagers to CUs. 1 salvager on your carrier to RUs and 1 salvager on your production cruiser to RUs. Do not recycle your base runner, right? We are going to keep our base runner alive for the time being, because we are going to use those sweet, sweet blast drones. Hell yeah.
Salvager awaiting orders. Salvager online.
Let's actually shunt into mobility support on our Khaaneph carrier. That's going to increase the speed of all units around the carrier and the production cruisers. Now we are going to move our production cruiser right here to the resources that are closest to us, and we are going to save up 700 for production refinery mode, which we are going to then get, and we are going to set our rally point for both our production cruisers and our carrier onto the resources that are beside us, our second mining location, because we've already saturated our first, so now we're going to saturate our second, and we're going to build 1 more salvager out of each, rallied onto CUs, and then we're going to get sand skimmer fabrication. So basically all that we're going to do is we're going to use our carrier and our blast drones to defend against the initial push. So go ahead and start building blast drones from your base runner. We're going to actually force the... What are you doing? Back to mining, bud.
Go ahead. Blast drone online.
Command link recognized. Confirmed. Carrier ready.
Production cruisers refinery capability now online. Sand skimmer fabrication online.
Ready for deployment.
All right. So from here on in, we're just going to keep building blast drones, and we're going to keep building salvagers until we have both of these sites saturated. So go ahead and keep building salvagers and keep building blast drones. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to force the AI to come over the dune, and we're going to hide our blast drones on the other side of the dune here. So we can lure the sand skimmers that they're going to send, or the LAVs, over the dune, and then detonate our blast drones and do significant amounts of damage. Take power out of mobility systems now that you don't need it, and put it into close combat weaponry, and go ahead and research assault ship fabrication as soon as possible. We're basically rushing siege cruisers on the back of our blast drones. So really, really playing to the Khaaneph faction. You want to spread your blast drones out a little bit, just in case they come from this side, and keep building salvagers. Get your fleet capacity. Don't forget that. Don't allow yourself to get supply blocked.
Ready for dispatch. Command verify.
That should finish us up nicely here, because we'll get another blast drone. Now we can see, of course, the AI is going to grab 3 artifacts and deliver them. There's nothing we can do about it at this point.
Enemy detected. Unit
Boom!
Blast drone online.
Salvager under attack.
There are blast drones in here. Blast drone out here. Come on, get up there.
Salvager awaiting orders.
Let's go ahead and get power reserve level 1. Did we lose a salvager? We did indeed. That's okay. We are getting siege cruisers. That was pretty successful. You can see the amount of damage that those blast drones do. It takes a little bit of micro. You gotta control each blast drone and then hit the D key to detonate them. Alright, now let's get another production cruiser. Now that we've fended off the attack with our blast drones and our carrier's weapon systems, we can go ahead and get another production cruiser. We're going to leave that production cruiser here and move our carrier forward, right to about here, and start mining off of this location.
Extracted an artifact.
Awaiting command. New course.
Keep getting blast drones. And we've got siege cruiser fabrication underway. So directly after sand skimmer fabrication, we went into assault ship fabrication, and that let us get siege cruiser fabrication. We've made sure that we've got 2 fleet capacity upgrades, so we have quite a bit of excess supply so that we can start building siege cruisers as soon as they're available, which should be oh crap.
Salvager taking enemy fire. Cruiser confirmed. Relay command. Salvager lost.
Blast drone ready to
Boom.
deploy.
Friendly unit destroyed.
Research complete.
Oh shit, I blew up one of my own salvagers. It's alright.
Rally point marked.
Against course. Maintain fire.
Assault Group 4 sanctioned. Rally point
All right,
acknowledged.
Irv.
Bring us about.
Our second production cruiser has hit the field. We don't really need our base runner anymore. It can only create 8 blast drones, so go ahead and recycle it and just start building siege cruisers and get your power upgrades as quickly as possible.
Detected. Combat alert. Reverend forces are attacking the control carrier.
Right, we're fully saturated here, we're fully saturated here, that's good. We have got 2 siege cruisers on the way. Well, actually, let's cancel one, get power level 2, and get a couple of salvagers out here.
Armor eliminated. Some at position.
Actually, you know what? I can get salvagers off of
Acknowledge.
my
Rally point marked.
Carrier
my
ready.
production cruisers. I'll just bring my carrier up here. I'll also get a couple of assault ships just to help out.
Rally point acknowledged.
New course locked in. Go ahead.
Assault Group 3.
I'm going to rally my siege cruisers out here.
Salvager awaiting orders.
That's going to allow me to destroy their base runners.
Captain here. Coordinates received. Enemy railgun within sensor range.
Well, they've got railguns already, eh?
Course marked. Advance on that position. Ahead. Move us now. Enemy forces engaging cruiser.
Artifact identified.
Now we're just going to use our siege cruisers and our Khaaneph missile system to ward off all of these railguns, which are pretty much going to get eaten alive. We need you to get back here. We need another siege cruiser as soon as we can.
Copy. Advance through contact. Hostile armor destroyed. Armor taking hostile fire. Ready. Acknowledge. Enemy railgun destroyed.
Artifact location detected.
Relay command. Move us now. Armor ready. Advance.
Now, this does take a bit of micro. This is the hardest part right here. You're going to have to deal with railguns. Just try and use your missiles to keep them at bay and keep hiding your siege cruisers and your carrier behind these dunes here. And use your artillery and your missile system.
Ready.
Assault Group 1 sanctioned.
Destination. Advance. Combat alert. Enemy strike fighter airborne.
Now we're going to need missile ship fabrication because they're starting to spam air.
Assault Group 2 sanctioned.
Keep getting more siege cruisers and keep reinforcing your assault ships.
Control carrier is taking enemy fire. Location marked. Let's move. Full speed.
Enemy forces.
Be careful with your carrier.
Take fire.
Um,
Point verified.
Don't want it to take too much damage because it's not tanky whatsoever.
Cruiser verifies.
Armored ship online.
Carrier copies. Coordinates received. Armor on alert.
Now we have to prevent them from getting these 2 artifacts.
Confirms. Barrage target set. Fire. All armored vessel taking fire. Artillery for
Assault Group 2 sanctioned.
Grid mark set. Hostile railgun detected. Fire.
Enemy forces have retrieved an artifact. Assault Group 1 sanctioned. Enemy forces have dropped an artifact.
Alright.
Ship available for production.
Armor system
Assault Group 1 appointed.
ready for operations. Carrier receiving. Adjust course. Over here. Move to new coordinates. Ready all battle stations. Ready for contact. Site target enemy base runner inbound on sensors. Cruiser taking hostile fire. It's ready. Cruiser active. Ready to adjust. Systems go. Move to mark. Clear.
Hostile forces have lost an artifact.
Enemy railgun destroyed.
Alright, we're gonna lose a siege cruiser. That is okay.
Active scan. Artillery prime. Missile barrage to target.
Hostile forces have lost an artifact.
Prevented them from delivering another artifact. We do have a production cruiser that we're gonna build, and we're gonna rally it right about here
Rally point marked.
and get our third resourcing location up.
Ahead full. Bridge copy.
And we are going to start building missile ships. We are going to need an absolute ton of them.
Move to destination. Area ready. Waypoint set. Armored systems reading you.
So basically, after we defended with our blast drones and we saturated 2 starting locations, we just went directly into siege cruisers. Used our siege cruisers and our assault ships, which we began producing after we got siege cruisers, to hold the middle of the map. Now I'm going to have to put some power into generation. So my carrier doesn't die here. And then I'm just going to keep building siege cruisers and missile ships.
Enemy armor detected.
Assault group 1 appointed.
Armor taking hostile fire. Ready to adjust. Force out. Enemy armor eliminated. Command verified. Coordinates verified. Saban railgun neutralized.
There we go.
Taking new position.
Rain of missiles, man. Khaaneph are fun as hell.
Support ready.
More missile ships. We're going to need like a lot of missile ships, to tell you the truth.
Armor systems
We're
active.
going to use them to cover this side, while our siege cruisers and our carrier covers this side.
Force marked. Advance on that position. Enemy salvage destroyed. Salvage systems online. Place all charges. Confirmed. Enemy railgun within sensor range. Carrier copies. Relay command. Move to grid mark. Armor flight. Cruiser active. Go for orders. Missile barrage to target. Powered unit destroyed. Missiles away. Send as needed. Advance underway. Offensive move underway. Siege cruiser.
Assault group 2 appointed.
Let's just keep getting that rain of missiles.
Armored vessels taking fire.
We can actually build a couple of base runners now to help us grab these artifacts.
Cruiser active.
Artifact identified. Assault group 1 sanctioned.
Acknowledge.
Rally point marked.
Move to mark.
Fleet capacity increased.
Advancing. Hostile railgun neutralized. Command established. Send us assembly protocols.
Enemy forces have retrieved an artifact. Assault group
Oh, no, you don't.
Contact imminent. Awaiting orders. Fire engines and
armored ship online.
cruiser reading. Move to grid mark.
Base runner construction complete.
Point verified. Craft ready. Armor flight.
Artifact location detected. Assault group 1 appointed.
Do we need any of this stuff? No, not really.
Armor status positive.
Armored ship ready for service. Armored ship online.
Relay
What
command.
we do need is another siege cruiser.
Awaiting command. Point verified. Combat alert. Enemy strike fighter airborne. Combat alert. Reverend forces are attacking.
Also need radar-guided missiles.
Armored unit lost. Ready. Waiting command. Enemy bomber eliminated. Ready for hostile railgun detected. Base runner under fire. Air
We've
received.
located an artifact. Enemy forces have retrieved an artifact.
Artifact verified. Enemy railgun destroyed. Systems active. Armor moving. Move to destination.
Artifact extraction in progress.
Support systems positive. Moving to enemy armor detected needed.
Assault group 1 appointed.
Power level 4, and let's spam missiles.
Ready armor taking hostile fire. Course set. Offensive move underway. Base runner to base
Get
runner.
that smoke up.
Operational. Ready.
Oh my god, look at all of these.
Hostile armor destroyed.
I'm gonna spew a siege cruiser right into the middle of them.
Armored unit destroyed.
I'm gonna get a couple more of these and a couple more of those and just keep
An artifact.
Systems ready.
pumping them out into the map. Now look at how this siege cruiser is just gonna lay waste all this stuff.
Reading.
Assault group 2
Gonna get in
appointed.
here,
Saban railgun
send our
destroyed.
base runner over there.
Target location marked.
Armored ship ready for service.
Advance. Cruiser taking hostile fire. Captain here. Salvage. Now standing by.
Missile ship ready for service.
Combat alert. Control carriers under attack. Copy. Hostile base one detected. Confirms.
And just keep pushing them back with your artillery.
Barrage. Target set. Fire. Barrage operator. Fire. Set is needed. Enemy armor
At this
with
point,
engaged.
you are pretty much good.
Assault Group 1. Sanctions.
Outside of something really crazy happening,
Over here.
Assault Group 1.
I mean, we've got 9 assault ships. We may as well start getting upgrades for them. Why the hell not?
Ready for deployment.
Where's my other base
Mobile
runner?
logistics support online.
Only got 1.
Carrier
Alright, that's cool.
Move to
Make
new
another one.
coordinates.
So now that we've got a stranglehold on the center of the map,
Operator.
all the name of the game is now is to use your siege cruiser's artillery barrage, your Khaaneph missile system, and
Copy.
your overwhelming firepower to basically prevent the enemy from delivering any more artifacts while you deliver the rest of your artifacts.
Destroy. Enemy interceptor destroyed. Enemy forces engaging cruiser.
I might have to put a couple of missile ships here.
Rally point marked.
Awaiting orders. Enemy armor detected. Awaiting
Artifact
command.
secured.
Salvager lost. Base runner taking hostile fire. Armor systems active.
I'm actually going to have to push out into mid a little bit more.
Bring us to new heading. On the way. Support systems positive. Point verified. Grid mark set. Force out. Ready to fire.
What do we
Base
need?
runner lost.
Not much of
Missile
anything.
ship online.
Let's get more weapons.
Failed. We have hostiles on sensors. Command. Stand by.
I'm going to swoop around with my assault ships and missile ships, start doing some damage to their economy, and of course, just use my artillery.
Railgun within sensor range.
Smoke, please try to stay alive. We saved him.
Destroyed.
Oh yeah.
Armored vessel ready to fire. Fire engines and move out.
Carrier power capacity increased.
Carrier contacts.
Nice. Get those
Artifact
missiles.
identified.
Systems gold. Bring us to new heading. Ready. Combat alert. Enemy battle cruiser identified. Underway.
Oh boy.
Advanced hostile salvage.
Battle cruiser, eh?
Cruiser taking hostile fire.
Target that bad boy down with the missiles.
Ahead full. Base runner. Artillery prime. Base runner under fire. Base
Oh,
runner
no.
destroyed.
Rally
Get some
point
interceptors
acknowledged.
as well.
Armor confirms.
We're gonna swoop around, continue to swoop around with our
Command authority recognized.
giant strike force of 9 assault ships and 6 missile ships. Holy crap.
Systems operational. Close the target. Hostile railgun neutralized. Reposition.
With this much artillery, you could just blind fire in big arcs to prevent anyone from getting close to you.
Artifact.
Moving to
To
destination.
get this artifact
Captain here.
here with our missiles.
Artifact location detected.
We're also gonna grab that artifact and bring it in.
Combat alert. Enemy strike fighter airborne. Hostile interceptor neutralized. Combat alert. Enemy
What else do we need? Armored level 3, why not?
siege cruiser ready. Systems ready.
Artifact
Let's just get
extraction
right
in
on top of
progress.
them.
Interceptor available for production.
Waiting command. Enemy salvage destroyed. Verify.
Artifact extraction in progress.
Offensive move underway. Armor taking hostile fire.
Just slowly close the jaws
Enemy
of death.
armor detected. Advance.
Pretty much on their doorstep now, and there's like jack they can do about it.
Saban railgun neutralized.
Now, an interesting thing to note is that with the Khaaneph missile system, every point of power that you put into the missile system gives you 1 missile. In addition to that, every point of power increases the range and reload time, or increases the range and decreases the reload time of the missiles. So as you power up your missile system, you're basically going to get more and more missiles that shoot farther and faster, which is really, really good. It's extremely, extremely good. Let's even get power level 6. Typically it takes 2 missiles to destroy an armored vehicle.
Carrier copies.
Or maybe that's a railgun I was thinking of. Let's keep our guys moving here. As you can see, now that we're about to have level 5 missiles, we're pretty much going to be unstoppable. We can just honestly snipe everything. Boom, 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 boom. Bye. How many artifacts? So we need 2 more artifacts. We're going to grab this one, and we are going to grab another one. And we're just going to split our forces up. Oh, that's a battle cruiser, right? We can probably take it. Look at that damage from the siege cruiser's direct fire barrage. Just insane. 2 over here, 1 over there. So as you can see, because we expanded so aggressively, at this point in the game, our economy is basically completely out of control. Like, I couldn't even spend enough money to keep everything going. In fact, I'm just gonna, at this point, spam some more sand skimmers, send them all the way onto this side of the map, and just have them swoop around and devastate the enemy's economy. Oh, I'm losing a siege cruiser here, eh? Let's get their range upgrade as well.
Relay command. Courier ready. Course verified. Engine full.
Skimmer now in service.
Armor standing by. Advance underway. Hostile railgun.
Awesome. Look at those missiles. Khaaneph are so much fun. And they're one of the few factions that you can actually play where you don't even need railguns. No, you just don't need railguns at all. I can use my missiles, I can use my artillery barrage, and I can just absolutely bombard everything long range.
Armor systems active. Forward. Advance. Advance and prosecute.
Skimmer construction complete.
Destination mark. Armor taking hostile fire. Go for orders. Let's go.
So again, we're basically just waiting out the clock here to win. I'm going to go for the artifact win because I want to. So, yeah, basically all I did was production cruiser refinery mode first, aggressively expand to 2 resource locations, and then rush siege cruisers. And I used my siege cruisers to really push the enemy back and force myself into the middle of the map and prevent them from getting any more artifacts. And then what I did was I just built up like a critical mass of units, assault ships and missile ships. Like, look at, I've got a ton of them. I can even bring back these guys up here.
We have located an artifact.
I think I had like 9 assault ships and 6 missile ships. So, alright, we're gonna grab this artifact, we're gonna grab our sand skimmers, we're gonna send them in, and now it's totally over. So with my siege cruisers and my long-range missile system, I was able to basically just force the enemy back and prevent them from delivering any more artifacts, and then I just bulked up a massive force of units, and that allowed me to really just push forward into the middle here and start grabbing my own artifacts. Oh, that's another siege cruiser. So these guys are just suicide units going in. This will be the last artifact, and we will have won the game. So I hope that gave you a little bit of insight into how you can play the Khaaneph. You don't even need railguns, which is the coolest thing about this faction. You've got some awesome long-range firepower. The missiles are super fun to use, and boom, there we go. So we were able to take a stranglehold on mid, force the enemy back, and then just push into their flanks and down the center with our artillery and long-range missile fire, and deliver all the artifacts our hearts desire. I mean, you can go ahead and once you've got your like 3 or 4 siege cruisers and you've got like 3 or 4 levels of power into your missile system, and you've got, provided you have some assault ships and missile ships for support, you can just take your force and push in and kill their carriers if you want. The Khaaneph missile system is super good for killing carriers. And yeah, that's that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I hope it was educational. Let me know what you think in the comment section, please. And if you liked it, smash the thumbs up. subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and I will see you guys for the next video. Peace out.